Okay, so this is just a quick demonstration of the trip reset button here. This you turn left or right, it affects the nighttime display vision, but I'm just going to scroll through the options here, where at the bottom we have the odometer, so total miles covered by the car. If you press this once, but only quick press and let go, it will then show trip A. So that's 77 miles since I last reset it, and as you can see I got quite a full tank of petrol. So I use trip A. Every time I fill the tank I reset trip A, so that gives me an idea of how many miles I've done on that tank full so far. Trip B I might use for journeys, so if I'm going on a long journey I may reset it. I hardly ever use trip B because I just remember the numbers of the mileage. And then the third press would take you back to the total mileage for the car. Go back to A again, so a little press. Now if I did a long press on that, that would reset to 0 and start counting again. And that's really useful because it ties in with the fuel economy monitor, which I'm going to show you now. So we move over to here, and on this screen I'm on nav, but the user send a command button here. Press it once. Beg your pardon. Okay, I'm on the screen here now. I press the middle button, I should say here, the house button, and turn the command dial. Okay, so here we go, right to the end, and their fuel economy monitor, I press click on that. Okay, so the way this works is each one of these is every time I reset the tank. Okay, so it's going 6 tankfuls, so that could be 6 weeks or 6 months, depending on how often you do it. But the current tank, I'm averaging 39.2 miles per gallon. On this current drive, I still have the engine running, I've just done 40.8 miles per gallon. And this is the drive over the last 20 minutes. You can see it's blank here because I've been stopped for 2 minutes. But that's the drive, so you can see how I've been driving and the economy. So that all looks pretty good. Yeah, that works. Now, on this setting here, I'm going to press the button there, do it on the command here, save using the screen. Press that, and we have, if we go across to settings, we have one called show at screen ignition off, which I'll show you on the next video, but we got sync, average and trip A. So where we go back to trip A on here, yeah, the fuel economy monitor is synchronized to that. So this is what happens when I put a new tank of petrol in. I'm going to go back to this screen. Okay, so I'm pressing the odometer here now, but this time I'm not going to go to B. I'm going to press and hold it to 0 this. So here we go, press and hold, 0. So now the current tank is 0 because I haven't driven yet. But imagine I just filled up. Now this will now start measuring the new tank of petrol, and all the others are shuffled along like that. Yeah, this drive is still 40 miles per gallon because I haven't turned the engine off. Oh, just got an email come through from spider.org. Might as well read it. Here we go.
Subject: Spider not replied to anyone have a car interior filled with mold. Fire Spider car 124 inches. Message: Visit site. Spider not replied to a discussion you are following that anyone have a car interior filled with mold. Fire Spider car 124.
I'll just pause that. So that's ironic. Just as I'm showing the monitor, I got an email come through. Totally automatic. Cars moving, for example. Don't need to touch the screen. Just does it automatically. I can carry on reading it or have it read out to me by pressing the button, or I can move up with the joystick and I can scroll down and read it. But I don't recommend you read while you're driving. So the best way is get the car to read it to you.
Experiment to make penicillin. View discussion, view all following. Vertical scope incorporated.
And
111.
I'll delete the email. There you are. Okay, delete email. So there you go. Back to where we were, which is the fuel monitor. So there we can see as the average drive is dropping now because I got the engine ticking over. The current mileage is at 0. Okay, so there we go. So basically, you just go through it again. To reset the fuel economy monitor, you press trip A to 0 on here, which it is on 0 now. Okay, I usually leave that running. Now I've reset it to 0. I lightly press it again. There's my odometer reading 22042. There we go. So that works really well. That's the monitor. Now there's one other setting. I'm going to show you that now. This setting here, you need to have it, well, I have it on show screen ignition off. It's checked. So this is really good because you don't need to be looking at that necessarily if you don't want to. You can just have any screen on, and then when you turn the engine off, if you've got sync to ignition off, just turn the engine off, you finish your drive, and it does this for a few seconds and just shows you the performance of your car during the drive. So I'm now turning the engine off. Everything's off, and there we go. You have a quick look at that, say, oh, I'm happy with that drive, and that goes off on its own. The car is now shut off. So I hope that makes sense.